Hello, everyone. This is James Daniel. It's Wednesday, March 19th, and we're doing a brief podcast still from Maui at Taylor's wonderful house, where it's raining at the moment. You may or may not be able to hear a little in the background. It's not torrential, but it's nice. The subject today is the eternal now and the flow of love. The reason I'm focusing on this is they kind of seem like contradictory ideas, because the eternal now focuses us on a moment, the now moment. And the flow of love seems to have that continuous continuity, which, we normally would call time, going from past, present to future. So how can the two coincide and be part of the wonderful empowerment of humanity with the consciousness of love? That's what we're exploring. And we're exploring it because that's the purpose of the Love Foundry. It is one of the few places you will find where the object in mind is to empower people with the actual energy of love itself. Now, that seems also slightly contradictory because there's a whole lot of religions out there that talk about love, but how many of them actually empower people with it? Now, you can empower yourself. No one will stop you. No one can stop you because it's an issue of free will. In the last analysis, it's always free will, your choice. And all circumstances offer you an opportunity to do that, regardless of how it looks to others. So we're bringing this back around because we feel there is a tremendous need in the world for this to begin to be focused on in a clear and practical way, not as some belief in something, but as a science-based understanding of how to know love, and how to build it into ourselves as a permanent part of our conscious anatomy as human beings. Now, the good news is it's already there. I can't build anything into the seed of a human being that was not there from the beginning, from the very first breath. Humanity has always had love as its innate, permanent, perfect nature. What we haven't is known about it and realized it and applied it intelligently with will, which is what we're about to learn how to do now in the world. So we might as well start with the eternal now, which is the place where love lives in us and always has. Love itself never departs from the eternal now. It's simply not possible. Love never lives in the past. It never lives in the future. It lives now, everywhere in the universe, all the time. What we're going to do is move our consciousness into the now and realize the presence of love and apply it to our continuum, to the daily life we live that results in a past that we have lived, a present we are living, and a future that we plan to live. This illusion of time, as it's often called, is the result of a brain in a skull that processes life through these eyes as a continuous chemistry process, sequential chemistry processes in the brain, strange as it may sound, create this illusion of a continuum of time. Now, our ability to move our consciousness out into the eternal, beyond the brain, beyond the human mind, and into an awareness of the inner universe of space where live those who have a conscious, constant, continuous idea of reality. That's our ability to do that when we understand how to free ourselves from the material prison in which we are temporarily confined, but not completely confined, as intuitive mind and all the other aspects of release demonstrate to us through miraculous experiences, through psychic experiences, through wondrous appearances of consciousness in us that happen, through simply falling in love. These things do happen. Now, what's the difference in us between the constant flow of love and this eternal now? I look within myself to see this because it's there are two very great ideas of how to live in us. One of them based on that flow in the time world. It's a bit like the blood flowing in the body. It's also a bit like electricity flowing down the wires. The scientist will tell you electricity does not flow down the wire. When you plug in your toaster to the power, electricity is not flowing to us from the dam or the electrical power plant down the road. It's already there in potential. And what we're doing is drawing it off, and the potential's being replaced, but not as a flow of electrons. There's no big river of electrons moving down to our toaster. Well, the human body is an electrical phenomenon. It has chakra centers, and it's all wrapped cell by cell, atom by atom, around a central etheric body, which connects to the electrical universe of spirit and gives us something similar. And love can travel out into the environment around us because it's already there. It's potential, as is electricity. And all of a sudden, by our activity, it can become recognized. It can become obvious to us, obvious to the senses. So we attribute this much to like we would the blood system, because life is traveling through the blood system to every cell in the body, from the chakra centers, who are energy centers, charging the blood as it moves through the heart, charging it with other things as it moves through the thyroid or moves through the pineal and the pituitary and the other glands that make up the body's glandular system, which is the physical location of the various etheric chakras. Now, this is kind of standard esoteric language, which is not fundamentally based on what we would think of as Christianity, which is that makes it no more or less correct. Christianity was a particular teaching about a particular experience having everything to do with love, but it wasn't taught as a science. Of course, it is a science because there's a science of everything. So we can look at it from a scientific point of view. And in the future, when we get past the belief stage and recognize the knowingness of love is a better relationship to it than simply believing in it or believing in those who believe in it. So take on the knowingness of love. Take on the knowingness of what's actually going on in your body, in your spirit, in your mind, in your consciousness. What's happening there? And what does love have to do with it? To quote the singer, what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to do the same thing about it that Jesus did. We're going to recognize it, we're going to act on it, and it's going to make its presence felt in our life. That's simple. Now, what carries it over from acting on it and not having it appear in our life, and acting on love and having it appear in our life? That's what the Love Foundry is designed to help us understand and apply. Because love lives in the eternal now, it's in the eternal now where we act on it, bringing it out into the material space in which we live. Act on it. It's not a mystery. It takes faith in its existence, which is a bridge we build in energy to it, and then it takes acting on it. And if at first you act on love in faith that it will join you, and by acting to call it forth, appear in your life, it doesn't do so, don't assume the failure is with love. Love's pretty much perfect. It rarely ever fails when summoned with integrity. And that integrity is found in the human heart. It's found in the human character. It's found in our desire to be in harmony with something absolutely real, absolutely truthful. No hesitation, no lying, no wondering. We simply choose that relationship, bring it into ourselves, and then look around to where we can act on it with someone. Now, how do you act on love with someone? Obviously, love them. Now, how do we do that? By extending love to them out of ourselves. Visualize the energy of it. It has a color, it has a beauty, it has a reality. It's in you. Visualize it coming out because that's part of the extension. It doesn't mean whether you're visualizing it rightly or wrongly or better or worse than the next guy. It means you're sincere about it. You're sincere in proving love real in your experience. And if you are, love will let you. It will join you in your proof, but not without free will, because that's our job. Not without acting on it, because that's our job. And if you act on it and you don't see the result, act again. That's all you can do. Continuously act on it, moment to moment to moment, until it proves itself to you. Now, how long will that take? A moment. Now, how long is a moment? Well, depends on whether you're a solar being or a human being. Because the definition of a moment, to go back between time and non-time, is the least amount that something can move measured in time. That's it. That's a small movement. If it's an atom, it's a really small movement. But is it any bigger if it's a planet or a solar system or a galaxy? Because those are built of atoms. So moment by moment by moment, the whole universe is moving like the blood in our system. And it must keep moving for the universe to continue to function, to live, to not coagulate into a disintegrating universe of atoms flying apart and falling into what? A void of some kind. So we're alive, we live, The heart beats, it's being charged with energy, it's being charged with love, and our consciousness can bring it up out of us and touch others with it. That's a fantastic idea. I would like to see that happen for every single human being. I would like to be consistent in doing it myself. And in that, we have three aspects to apply. One, the aspect of the will. And this is applied through the process of what we would call making our way straight with the Lord. The Lord being the rough definition of the source of all life and love and purpose and will, of course. So by making our way straight with it, we are simply taking curves, bends, and the distances between us and that source out within ourselves and acknowledging a direct link to us. And will has this incredible power to draw a straight line and then radiate. Now, the other aspect to bring love into our space is knowing. The love of knowing. The love of will is to make our way straight with the Lord. The love of knowing is to make ourselves available to know everything. But we don't want it jamming into our consciousness because there's more than a thimbleful. So we put ourselves in relationship to the universe of knowing for only that which we need at this moment, moment to moment. We want to be available to knowing, to knowledge, to information, to the truth of the universe as we need to know it. Now, this is something that the Buddha made quite practical through his own personal experience and then his many decades of teaching it to others and the Yoga Sutras and the beautiful processes that emerged out of that. And from that, we call it illumination of the mind. It's a beautiful concept. And in the illumination of the mind, what do we gain? We gain wisdom. Wisdom is not any one specific thing, like how to drive a nail into wood. It's a continuous application to ourselves through will and love of the knowing necessary to grow into a universal being. In other words, love applied intelligently with will. That definition of wisdom is underpinned by all the intelligence of the universe and guided by our own will towards our constant evolutionary development and growth. Now that covers love in the mind as knowing. When we get into it and we start working with these elements, it's no surprise to us that that's going to be growing in us, that we're going to have some really wide horizons of capacity opened up to us, to the wonderful field of universal knowing or universal mind. Love, on the other hand, is going to be coming through the heart to the whole body, to the whole being, because it's charging itself in that mysterious way that electricity does. It's going to be charging itself into the blood. It's going to be charging itself into the emotional body. It's going to be charging itself into the mind as illumination. And we're going to begin to function with a constant awareness of the flow of love into and through us to the world. This is going to happen. How are you going to become aware of the flow of it? Not that there's an ocean of it dammed up to the center of the universe available to us. That's obvious. But how do we experience it flowing through us and impacting our environment with this amazing quality that has transformation, transmutation, unity, and grace as its constant expressions? How will that become our universal companion through the eternal existence that we are in and inescapably bound to? There's no way out. You're part of life. So you are as eternal as the existence of light, the thing that lights the stars, the thing that keeps the universe moving, and that which flows from someplace beyond the universe into it to keep it that way. That river is the river of love flowing through the heart. It doesn't even originate in this cosmic physical universe. It originates at the source of life, the fountainhead of life, and gives us life's properties. And the only ones that we can measure now are the ones that we have developed some capacity to experience consciously. Self-conscious awareness, that's our gift. What are we self-conscious and aware of? Life itself as individuality in a human being. Where will that go? As life itself, as an individual human being, in unity with all individual beings, human or otherwise. And then perhaps to the unity of it all as a single being, and then perhaps to life itself. The only way we're going to know is to make the journey. Now, what's going to start us on that journey really moving quickly and picking up speed? Acting on it. That's the thing that pulls love out of the eternal now. The eternal now is not a static point. It's a living point of the most dynamic activity possible in the universe. That's what's at the center of the eternal now. It's the stillness of absolute dynamic motion. And its potential to give motion to everything else happens through action, through something taking action on it. Now, what took action and caused the whole universe to appear is something greater than ourselves. Now, we can call it God or the universal being or whatever we would care to name it, but we're in it. And it's all moving in a fantastic way that allows us to live on this earth and share it with each other. Now, how will we include love in that process and learn its mature experience in ourselves? Acting on it. Simply that. Well, if it were as simple as that, we would have all done it sooner. But it is that simple. It's only that when we care to step forward and take that action, we discover there are things that resist us, things that get in the way, things that push back against that flow. Now, nothing can stop the flow of love. It's pushing back against our willingness to keep that flow moving and experience the consequences of it in our lives. Those things that resist that flow of love are things that we have built into our illusion of life in the unbelief in life, in not understanding its presence and how it works. The only way to overcome that is with intentional will, the practice of living love, and then letting the transformation and transmutation within ourselves that love produces bring us over into an expression of free, outflowing love. There are beings walking the earth that we're going to have to get to know and work out this problem with, who flow love like water from the source through themselves. Now, if you saw them walking around in an individual and human form, you'd say, oh, that's a human being who loves a lot. But if you look inside the energetic identity that that person is carrying around, you would see they are aware of this enormous flow of this energy, this beingness of love going to them, through them, and out to enrich the environment around them that they are in contact with, wherever they are. Every single human being has the potential for this. And so their purpose among us is to help us learn how to do it. Now, the Love Foundry is the human gateway through which people like me and others are taking the baby steps of doing it from a not a purely scientific basis, but it can be pure science. And I think in the future, when we strip away the necessity of religious belief, realizing that religious belief must become knowing, the necessity of knowing what's true about religious belief, because belief covers up knowing. It's trying to reveal it. I believe in love. I believe in Christ consciousness. I believe in the Buddha's perfect mind. But now I want to know it. But am I ready to know it? Am I ready to take on that perfect mind? And am I ready to take on that dynamic life of Christ consciousness? Most of us aren't, but we are ready to take the baby steps into becoming capable in that flow. And there's no reason to expect, because it is enormous and gigantic in the universe, that we aren't going to have to take it as steps at a time. We're not going to have to give up ideas about ourselves, limited ideas about ourselves, for greater ideas of reality, of who and what we are and what we are capable of. Feel inside yourself. Feel the enormity of space inside you. It's in there, which is what the Christ was expressing to the followers of the day. It's all inside you. The divine power and life and flow and endless gifts are in us, inside us. And we are an actual capable expression of that, which is a miraculous thing to imagine, but we are. We have to take the word of the one who demonstrated that in themselves as a human being to recognize, hell, maybe we do have this. If he can do that and says, I can do that too, then it's just a matter of learning how. I mean, I worked with a 7-year apprentice under a Danish master carpenter. Well, I didn't really work under him. I employed him and worked with him. But he could do things with wood that I could not imagine being able to do. You want a spiral stairway, railing and knobs and everything? Sure, just give him enough wood and get out of the way. And Isla Cable would build you that stairway. The gifts of people who work hard at learning to do something and don't settle for the limitations that they believe they have. You can't do a 7-year apprenticeship with a Danish carpenter and not somewhere along the way say to yourself, I can't do this. There's no way in the world I'm going to be able to do this. That guy can build a ship. He can build anything. But we get past it. We come back. We have faith. We persevere. And pretty soon we find ourselves doing the very things that we thought were impossible so short a time ago. So I'm saying that this eternal now, where love is the only time the universe ever experiences. Past, present, and future are a simultaneous, dynamic activity in the field of consciousness where that exists. That can become our dynamic field of consciousness. And from there, love can flow into and through us in a way that reveals itself to us and allows us, like Isla Cable, to grow competent and capable at expressing it through our nature to others. And by seeing the benefit in their lives, maybe greater benefits than even we have in our own lives, because they are more courageous, or they're more free at doing it, or they listened closer and found inside themselves a blueprint for how to do it that we were just fumbling with. But it will begin to spread and increase and improve itself as humanity catches fire with the realization that this is true. Not only is it true, it is truth itself. And as that becomes a solid thing in us, solid, golden, radiant, living, flowing thing called love, we recognize the impossibility of our own eternal conscious process with it. No excuses and no end to it. You can't call death anything but an interruption in your work. And when that's conquered in ourselves, and we step consciously through the threshold of death and find ourselves fully aware in another aspect of the surrounding environment, we go, wait a minute. I thought I died. And someone near you says, yeah, well, physically you did, but now you're here with us and we got other things to do. That impossibility becomes not only possible, but reality when we are capable of embracing that in the constant embrace of love, becoming a part of our witnessing life around us and through ourselves. So let's start with some positive faith in the reality of love. Let's locate it in ourselves. Let's calm down our resistance to all that, and let's act on it. Doesn't matter what it is. The magic key is action, and it has to be continuous. You don't get to do one act and all the love you need is expressed, and now after that we can take the rest of the day off. It's a constant state of loving, looking for a place to act. And when there's no place in front that's obvious to act, we breathe. We breathe with it. That's an act. Love into the space, consciousness into the space. Oh, can I help you? That's action into the space. Give that power in you, and power will flow through you. Refuse that power in you, and no power can flow through you. Though it be invisible, though it be intangible, though only its results can become shown to you, do it anyway. What have you got to lose? So focus down, narrow down to your life. Whatever the next act of your life is, give yourself a glass of water. Bring love to it. Bring it to the water. Bring it to the glass. Bring it to your body. Bring it to yourself. Offer a glass of water to someone around you. Offer it to them first. And know that in this glass that I'm offering you, I'm offering love. I don't know how it sticks in the water. I don't know how it transmits to you. All I know is I intend to draw it from the well in me of eternal love and give it to you with this glass of water. Yes, it's possible. And there are those, if they hand you a glass of water, you know without question they're giving you love at the same time. It might be your grandmother, it might be the Christ. It is possible. And when it becomes the medium of exchange between human beings, each to the other at every opportunity we have, it will become the coin of the realm. And the people who are best at it, everybody will know. It's not like you can hide the best at it because it's around them that everything flourishes. So the people who are best at it, they are the ones that people will want to take the water from. They will be the ones people want to put in charge. The power of love is far beyond what we imagine, and only those giving it will be able to demonstrate that power by not inhibiting love in the slightly, but giving it freely. Can't tell love what to do. Can't tell it, oh, love that, but don't love that. See, all that's nonsense. That's vanity, human vanity. Have some humility. Give love to everything. Love will sort out where it belongs and what to do for those that need it most. Think about who on this earth needs love the most. Well, we have some obvious candidates when we look around at the world. So give them love, the actual energy of it, which causes transformation and transmutation and the awareness of unity and grace, and see how well they do with it in their lovelessness, and leave them alone with their free will to choose. Choose to partake. Thank you very much. I'll have a drink. Or choose to reject. That is the sad opportunity and the joyous opportunity that humanity now faces. We are all coming rapidly toward that choice. Take the love that's offered and flourish with love and unity and group consciousness and oneness and life itself, or reject the love. No, thanks. That is a sad thing to witness, the rejection of love, our own, or anyone who chooses to reject it from their life in any dramatic way. We see how people reject life. They do it by action. They throw it out, throw you out, throw kindness out, throw embracing wholeness out, throw possibility out. But what does that do for us? It inspires us to find a better way to offer it, a better way to give it, a better way to continuously reinforce their opportunity to make a better choice. Only better in the way we think of it as something that makes their life a better place to live within. You see what a basic premise it is? It's not religious. It can be. You can make a religion out of it. We made a bunch of them out of it. But it doesn't have to be. It has the simplicity of truth and a common exchange and a desire to figure it out and apply it and make it work really well in our lives and the lives of others. It's the belief of many and the philosophy of many that the next great world religion emerging out of the world after the ones we've got will be very scientific, because it will begin to apply this ability to develop love as a science. A science. How do I do it? Do it this way. Work hard at it. It'll work out really well. So let's not reject anything based on the past, because the past without love has no information to give us except what doesn't work. The past with love can show us what does work. And we saw some of that. We've seen some of that in the past. We've seen applications of love in the past and how it worked out. So let's build on those in the eternal now, because that's a fantastic place to live. With time and space, with the past, present, and future, with all of it together. It's not any either or. Realize yourself in it all as a wondrous, emerging, fantastic, growing, bewildering place of unique existence called human life. We are ready for it. We are capable of it. And every glass of water we drink should have it in it. Thank you, everyone. And we'll talk about this further because there's a lot to unravel and unpack in the eternal now and the flow of love. Thank you.